Dodgers have won. They're back-to-back World Series champions. They won it last year and they won it again this year. The Dodgers are your 2025 World Series champions again. Now, LA became the first team to repeat as titleist since the 2000 New York Yankees, with a thrilling comeback from behind victory in Saturday's Game 7, topping the Toronto Blue Jays 5-4 in the extra innings. They went 11 innings, and the Dodgers were topped the Blue Jays 5-4. They won a 7-game. It was 7 games. It was 7 games, and the Dodgers won the series 4-3 in the aspect of how many games they won. 4-3, like out of a 7-game series. So it was the second. It was the second consecutive 7-game series the Blue Jays had played, as they clinched a spot in the Fall Classic by outlasting Seattle Mariners in the American League Championship Series after coming back from 3-2 to do so. The Dodgers, meanwhile, booked their return by sweeping the Milwaukee Brewers in the National League Championship Series. Now, here are all the scores, news, and results you need to know from every round in this year's postseason. You got Mr. October. That was Reggie Jackson, but they got somebody else that they're talking about now. So in the first game, the Blue Jays took the first game 11-4. Dodgers took the second game 5-1. Game 3, the Dodgers took the third game 6-5, and that went 18 innings. Game 4, Blue Jays took that game 6-2. Game 5, Blue Jays also 6-1. Dodgers took game 6 3-1, and then Dodgers took the final game yesterday to be declared World Series champions 5-4 in an 11 inning. I'm not sure who pitched the game, but let me see. Let's go with scores and see. And I know Clayton Kershaw still pitches for them, but I don't know if he pitched yesterday or not. Clayton Kershaw is one of the longest tenured pitchers to have played for the Dodgers. Clayton Kershaw was drafted and he's been pitching with the Dodgers since 2008. He's been with them his whole 18-year career, and which is kind of surprising because you don't see that a whole lot with any player. Like, not every player spends their whole time with one team, and it's very rare that it happens. It looks like Yamamoto was the one that pitched. He's a Japanese pitcher, and then Bieber pitched for the Blue Jays, and he ended up taking the loss. Looking to see if Ohtani had played. Oh yeah, Ohtani had played in the game. Ohtani is a two-way player, and what that means is he not only pitches in baseball, but he also plays the designated hitter position, which in my opinion, baseball needs to get rid of the designated hitter role. There's no reason to have it. But in the game, it shows that he was a designated hitter, where he had 2 hits in the game. Okay, yeah, Shohei Ohtani started the game, but Yamamoto was the one that got the win because he came in relief. Ohtani didn't. In baseball, in order to get the win, you have to pitch 5 innings or more, and Ohtani only lasted 2 1/3 of an inning. And besides, he had 51 pitches by the second inning. That's never a good sign for any player. So let's go to the history of the Dodgers. Dodgers have been around for over 100 years with different names of different teams they played for. Like they had different names and everything. So the Los Angeles Dodgers are an American professional baseball team that is based in Los Angeles, California. Now, the Dodgers compete in the Major League MLB as a member of the National League in the Western Division. Now, they are one of the most successful and storied franchises in MLB. The Dodgers have won 9 World Series championships and a record 26 National League pennants. As of 2024, the Forbes magazine had ranked the Dodgers second in MLB franchise with a valuation of them being worth $5.45 billion. They were founded in 1883 in Brooklyn, New York. The team joined the National League in 1890 as the Brooklyn Bridge Grooms, and over the years they would use different names. Before becoming the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1932, the Dodgers broke the baseball color barrier in 1947 when they signed and brought up Jackie Robinson, who was the first African-American to play in the Major League since 1884. Now, from the 1940s to the mid-1950s, the Dodgers had a fierce crosstown rivalry with the New York Yankees. The clubs have faced each other in the World Series 7 times, with the Dodgers losing 5 of those matchups. Before they won their first title in 1955. After 68 years in Brooklyn, the Dodgers owner and president Walter O'Malley would end up moving the franchise to Los Angeles before the 1958 season. The team would play their first 4 seasons at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum before moving to their current home of Dodger Stadium in 1962. The Dodgers found immediate success in Los Angeles, winning the 1959 World Series, and their success would continue in the 1960s with the pitchers Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale, and they helped to win titles in 63 and 65. Now, in 1956, Don Newcombe became the first player to win the Cy Young Award and be named National League MVP in the same season. Now, and the Dodgers were the Dodgers in 1981 with rookie pitcher Fernando Valenzuela. The team became a sensation and led the team to a championship. He remains the only player to win the Cy Young and Rookie of the Year award in the same season. Now, the Dodgers were once again victorious in 1988, upsetting their heavily favored opponent in each series and becoming the only franchise to win multiple titles in the 1980s. Now, next came a 32-year championship drought despite 12 postseason appearances in a 17-year span and 8 consecutive division titles from 2013 to 2020. It was broken when the Dodgers won the World Series in 2020, and the Dodgers signed global sensation Shohei Ohtani in 2024, who set league and franchise records at the team en route to their 8th and 9th World Series titles in his first 2 seasons with them. Now here, you got so the Dodgers have been in existence in 1883, but like I said, they've gone by other names throughout the years. So when they first started playing in 1883, they were known as the Brooklyn Grays. In 1884, they became the Atlantics. Then they went back to using the name Grays in 1885. In 1888, they went to using the name Bridge Grooms. And then from 1891 to 1895, they were known as the Brooklyn Grooms. Then they went back to Bridge Grooms in 1896. Then they became the Brooklyn Serpalibus in 1899 to 1910. In 1911, this is when they first started using the name Dodgers. They went by Brooklyn Trolley Dodgers in 1911 to 1912. Then in 1913, they went to the Dodgers. They went just by the Dodgers only. Then in 1914, they went by the name Brooklyn Robins from 1914 to 1931. In 1932 is when they started using the Dodgers permanently on a permanent basis. And the Brooklyn Dodgers played in 1932 to 57 before moving to Los Angeles and keeping the name Dodgers in 1958. They played at multiple different stadiums in 1884. From 1884 to 1890, they split time between Washington Park and Ridgewood Park. In 1891 to 1897, they played at Eastern Park. And then they played at Washington Park No. 2 from 1898 to 1912. And then Ebbets Field from 1913 to 1957, Roosevelt Stadium from 56 to 57, Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum from 58 to 61, and Dodger Stadium since 1962. They have 9 World Series titles going from 1955 to 2025. The first one was in 1955, then 59, 1963, 1965, 1981 to 1988. In 1981 and 88, then 2020, then 2024 and 2025. 11 players have been named National League MVP with the Dodgers. 8 Dodger pitchers have won a total of 12 Cy Young Awards, by far the most of any MLB franchise. The Dodgers boast 18 Rookie of the Year award winners, twice as many as the next club. This includes 4 consecutive Rookie of the Year awards from 79 to 1982, and 5 consecutive from 1992 to 1996. From 1884 through 2024, the Dodgers record is 11,432 wins and 1,068 losses with 139 ties. Since moving to Los Angeles in '58, the Dodgers' record is 5,808 and 4,778 losses and 6 ties through the end of the 2024 season. The Dodgers have a wide fan base that spreads throughout the years, and they have historically been one of the National League's most dominant teams. The rivalry with the San Francisco Giants dates to the two clubs' time in New York City. And here's a picture of Jackie Robinson when the first black player to come up to the majors and play. Jackie Robinson did not play very long in baseball. He only played like 10 years, when most players play longer than that. But there's a reasoning for that too. The club was formed as the Brooklyn Baseball Association in 1883. When it played in the Interstate League, it joined the American Association in 1884 and the National League in 1890. Although the team had no official nickname until 1932, they were informally nicknamed the Bridge Grooms in the team's earliest years. Then the Superboss around the turn of the century, and then the Robins, named after manager Wilbert Robinson at that time. Now, in the early 1900s, sports writer Charles Jordan nicknamed the team the Trolley Dodgers after the Brooklyn pedestrians who dodged streetcars in the city. And the Dodgers nickname was used contemporaneously with Superboss and Robins in 1932. The team allowed the Brooklyn baseball writers to select a permanent name, and the writers chose Dodgers on January 22nd, 1932, to be the permanent name for the team. Now, the other nickname seriously considered by the writers was the Brooklyn Kings. Now, in 1941, the Dodgers captured their third National League pennant, only to end up losing to the New York Yankees. Now, this marked the onset of the Dodgers-Yankees rivalry, as the Dodgers would face them in their next 6 World Series appearances, led by Jackie Robinson, the first black Major League Baseball player of the modern era, and 3-time National League Most Valuable Player Roy Campanella, who also signed. They were both signed out of the Big World Leagues, which was a back then. Black players couldn't play with the whites. And so the black people created their own league called the Negro Leagues, which is another form for all black players in baseball. The Dodgers captured their first World Series title in 1955 by defeating the Yankees for the first time, a story described in the 1972 book The Boys of Summer. After the 1957 season, the team left Brooklyn. In just their second season in Los Angeles, the Dodgers won their second World Series title, beating the Chicago White Sox in 6 games in 1959. And this was spearheaded by the dominant pitching of Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale. The Dodgers captured 3 pennants in the 1960s, and they won 2 more World Series titles, sweeping the Yankees in 4 games in '63, and edging the Minnesota Twins in 7 games in 1965. The 1963 sweep was their second victory against the Yankees, and their first against them as the Los Angeles team. The Dodgers won more pennants in 1966, 1974, 1977, and 1978, but they lost in each World Series appearance. And they won the World Series again in 1981 behind pitching sensation Fernando Valenzuela in the early 1980s. They were affectionately dubbed Fernando Mania. And here's a picture of Fernando Valenzuela here. Down at the bottom. He was a left-handed pitcher. I vaguely know his name, but have to look up his stats. I know that he pitched for the Dodgers for a little bit. In 1988, another pitching hero, Orel Hershiser, led the Dodgers to a World Series victory, aided by one of the most memorable home runs of all time. Star outfielder Kirk Gibson injured both his knees, but he came up the bench to pinch hit with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning of Game 1. This was his only appearance in the World Series. The next pennant came in 2017, aided by Justin Turner walk-off home run, 29 years to the day after Gibson did it. They lost the series in 7 games to the Houston Astros, which would later be revealed to have been stealing signs. I remember that. The Dodgers repeated as pennant winners in 2018, but they lost the World Series to the Boston Red Sox in 5 games. They took the pennant in 2020 in a season shortened by the COVID-19 pandemic to 60 games and defeated the Tampa Bay Rays to win the World Series in 6 games. The Dodgers would return to the World Series in 2024, defeating the New York Yankees in 5 games, and they returned to the World Series as defending champions in 2025, and winning again by defeating the Toronto Blue Jays in 7 games. Now, the Dodgers have had a fierce rivalry with the San Francisco Giants dating back to when they were both in New York. Now, dating back to the franchise time in New York City, both teams moved west for the 1958 season. The Brooklyn Dodgers would move to Los Angeles, and the New York Giants would end up moving to San Francisco. The Los Angeles Dodgers have appeared in the World Series 22 times, while the New York who switched to San Francisco Giants have appeared in the World Series 20 times. The Dodgers and the Giants are tied with 8 World Series titles. While the Dodgers now have won 9 because they just won yesterday. And the Dodgers have only okay, so I think the Giants have only won a few World Series titles since moving to San Francisco, but since the move to California, the Dodgers have won 7 World Series, while the Giants have won 3. Now in Brooklyn, the Dodgers won the National League pennant 12 times: 1890, 1899, 1900, 1960, 1920, 1941, 1947, 1949. 1952, 53, 55, and 56, and the World Series in 1955. After moving to Los Angeles, the team won National League pennants in 1959, 63, 65, 66, 74, 77, 1978, 1981, 1988, 2017, 2018, 2020, 2024, and 2025 with World Series champions in 1959, 1963, 65, 1981, 1988, 2020, 2024, and 2025. In all, the Dodgers have appeared in 22 World Series, 9 in Brooklyn and 13 in Los Angeles. Now, the Dodgers were formed in 1883 as the Brooklyn Atlantics, borrowing the name of a defunct team that had played in Brooklyn way before them. Now, the team joined the Atlantic American Association in 1884 and the AA Championship in 1889 before jumping to the National League in 1890. They promptly won the National League Championship in their first year in the league. The team was known alternately as the Bruce Grooms, the Grooms, the Superbas, Robins, and Trolley Dodgers before officially becoming the Dodgers in 1932. For most of the first half of the 20th century, no major league team had ever employed an African-American baseball player. Jackie Robinson became the first one to play for a Major League Baseball team when he played his first Major League game on April 15, 1947 as a member of the Dodgers. Now, this was mainly due to general manager Branch Rickey's efforts. The deeply religious Rickey's motivation appears to have been primarily moral, although business considerations were also a factor. Now, Rickey was a member of the Methodist Church, the antecedent denomination to the United Methodist Church of today, which was a strong advocate for social justice and active later in the American Civil Rights Movement. Now, this event was the harbinger of the integration of professional sports in the United States. The concomitant demise of the Negro Leagues, and it's regarded as a key moment in the history of the American Civil Rights Movement. Now, Jackie Robinson was an exceptional player, a speedy runner who sparked his team with intensity. He was the inaugural recipient of the Rookie of the Year award when he got called up in '47, which is now named the Jackie Robinson Award in his honor. Now, the Dodgers' willingness to integrate when most other teams refused to was a key factor in the 1947 to 1956 success. They won 6 pennants in those 10 years with the help of Robinson and 3-time MVP player Roy Campanella, Cy Young Award winner Don Newcombe, Jim Gilliam, and Joe Black. Now, Robinson would eventually go on to become the first African-American elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1962. Now, real estate investor Walter O'Malley acquired majority ownership of the Dodgers in 1950 when he bought a 25% stake out of share of out of a 25% share of co-owner Branch Rickey's, and he became allied with the widow of another equal partner, Miss John L. Smith. Um, Shortly afterwards, he was working to buy new land in Brooklyn to build a more accessible and profitable ballpark than the aging Ebbets Field. Now, beloved as it was, Ebbets Field was no longer well served by its aging infrastructure, and the Dodgers could no longer sell out of the park, even in the heat of a pennant race, despite largely dominating the National League from '46 to 1957. Now, Walter O'Malley wanted to build a new state-of-the-art stadium in Brooklyn, but city planner Robert Moses and New York politicians refused to grant him the eminent domain authority that was required to build pursuant to O'Malley's plans. To put pressure on the city during the 1955 season, O'Malley announced that the team would play 7 regular season games and 1 exhibition game at Jersey City's Roosevelt Stadium in 1956. Now, Moses and the city considered this an empty threat and did not believe O'Malley would go through with moving the team from New York City, in which he did, though. After teams began to travel to and from games by air instead of train, it became possible to include locations. It became possible to include locations in the far west. Now, Los Angeles officials attended the 1956 World Series, looking to the Washington Senators to move to the West Coast. Now, when O'Malley heard that LA was looking for a club, he sent word to the Los Angeles officials that he was interested in talking with them. LA offered him what New York would not: a chance to buy land suitable for building a ballpark and own that ballpark, giving him complete control over all revenue streams. When the news came out, New York City Mayor at that time, Robert F. Wagner Jr. and Moses made an offer to build a ballpark on the World's Fairgrounds in Queens that would be shared by the Giants and Dodgers. However, O'Malley was interested in his park only under his conditions, and the plans for a new stadium in Brooklyn seemed like a pipe dream. Now, O'Malley decided to move the Dodgers to California, and he convinced the Giants owner, Horace Stoneham, to move to San Francisco instead of Minneapolis to keep the Giants-Dodgers rivalry alive on the West Coast, and they were the first MLB teams both west and south of St. Louis. Now, the Dodgers would play their final game at Ebbets Field on September 24th, 1957, when the Dodgers won 2-0 over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, New York remained a one-team town, and with the New York Yankees in 1962, when Joan Payson founded the New York Mets and brought National League Baseball back to the city. Now, the blue background used by the Dodgers was adopted by the Mets, honoring the New York National League forebearers with a blend of Dodgers blue and the Giants orange. Now the Giants, not the Giants. The Dodgers were the first Major League Baseball team to ever play a game in Los Angeles. On April 18th, 1958, the Dodgers played their first Los Angeles game, defeating the former New York and now new San Francisco Giants 6-5 before 78,672 fans at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. Now, baseball catcher Rory Campanello, left partially paralyzed in an off-season incident, was never able to play in Los Angeles again. After that, the construction of Dodger Stadium was completed in time for opening day in 1962, with its simple lines and its picturesque setting amid the hills and amid the hills and palm trees. The ballpark quickly became an icon of the Dodgers and their new California lifestyle. Now, Walter O'Malley was determined that there would not be a bad seat in the house, achieving this by cantilevered grandstands that have since been widely imitated, and more importantly for the team, the stadium's spacious dimensions, along with other factors, gave defense an advantage over offense, and the Dodgers moved to take advantage of this by assembling a team that would excel with its pitching. And like I said, they've had a lot of good pitchers over the years. Now, since moving to Los Angeles, the Dodgers have won 12 more National League championships and 7 more World Series rings. The Dodgers have had only 3 top 5 draft picks since the MLB draft was introduced in 1965, and they've had at least 1 top 10 pick, Clayton Kershaw, who was drafted in 2008. Now the Dodgers do have a lot of records for different things. They were the first baseball team to win championships in different leagues in consecutive years from 1889 to 1890. They were the first time. They were the first team to have a game broadcast in 1939. They were the first team to use batting helmets in 1941. They were the first MLB team to employ and start an African American player in the 20th century, Jackie Robinson, back in 1947. First MLB team to have numbers on the front of their uniforms in 1952 instead of the back. The first World Series teams in 1958, along with the San Francisco Giants. They were the first Western team to win a World Series in '59. And then you have first MLB team to allow a female sports journalist into a locker room, Anita Martini, in 1974. They were the first MLB team to establish a baseball academy in the Dominican Republic when they opened the doors to Campo Las Palmas in 1957. The largest home opener attendance in 1958, which was at the time 78,672. That record has been broken since the Colorado Rockies joined in 1993, where the Colorado Rockies broke that. Largest single game attendance, 93,103 in 1959 and 115,300 in 2008, which is a world record. They were the first MLB team to open an office in Asia in 1998. The longest MLB record for home starting, where they won their first 13 games in 2009. They have a North American record for the buying of a sports team, $2 billion in 2012. They also hold the record for the most no-hitters thrown, which is 26. Most Cy Young Award winners are 12. Back in 2018, they hold the record for the longest World Series game, which was Game 3 of the Boston Red Sox, where it took 7 hours and 20 minutes and 18 innings. Now the Dodgers' official history reports that the term Trolley Dodgers was attached to the Brooklyn Ball Club due to the complex maze of trolley cars that weaved in and out its way through the borough of Brooklyn. I've always wanted to go on a trolley, but I never had the chance to. Now, in 1892, the city of Brooklyn was an independent city until annexed by New York City in 1898. Now, and it began replacing its slow-moving horse-drawn trolley lines with the faster, more powerful electric trolley lines. Within less than 3 years, by the end of 1895, electric trolley accidents in Brooklyn had resulted in more than 130 deaths, and that maimed well over 500 people. Now, Brooklyn's high profile, the significant number of widely reported accidents in the trolley strike in early 1895, combined to create a strong association in the public's mind between Brooklyn and trolley dodging. Now, sports writers started using the name Trolley Dodgers to refer to the Brooklyn team early in the 1895 season. The name was shortened to, on occasion, the Brooklyn Dodgers as early as 1898. Okay, so sports writers in the 20th century began referring to the Dodgers as the Bums. Yep, I remember that, Brooklyn Bums. That was mentioned in the movie 42 about baseball, about Jackie Robinson, that was centered on him. Great movie, by the way. In reference to the team's fans, and possibly because of the street character nature of Jack Dawkins, the Artful Dodger and Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist, the newspaper cartoonist Willard Mullen used a drawing of famous clown Emmett Kelly to depict them bums. The team would later use Weary Willie in promotional images, and Kelly himself was a club mascot up until the 1950s. Now, other team names used by the franchise were the Atlantics, Grays, Grills, Bridge Grims, Superbas, and Robins. All of these nicknames were used by fans and sports writers to describe the team, but not in any official capacity. Throughout majority of the time frame, the team's legal name was the Brooklyn Baseball Club. However, the Trolley Dodger nickname was used throughout this period simultaneously with these other nicknames by fans and sports writers of the day. The team did not use the name in any formal sense until 1932 when the word Dodgers appeared on team jerseys. The conclusive shift came in 1933 when both home and road jerseys for the team bore the name Dodgers on the jersey. Examples of how the many popularized names of the team were used are available from newspaper articles before 1932. Now, a New York Times article describing a game in 1916 starts out: Jimmy Callahan, pilot of the Pittsburgh Pirates at that time, did his best to wreck the hopes that the Dodgers have of gaining the National League pennant. But then he goes on to comment that the only thing that saved the Superbos from being toppled from first place was that the Phillies lost one of those 2 games played. But what is interesting about the use of these 2 nicknames is that most baseball statistic sites and baseball historians generally now refer to the pennant-winning 1916 Brooklyn team as the Robins. A 1918 New York Times article uses the nickname in its title. Buccaneers take last from Robins, but the subtitle of the article reads, "Subdue the Superbos by 11 to 4, making the series an even break." Now, we'll skip the uniform part and get down to where the rivalry is and where other stuff is. The Dodgers are known for signing a lot of international players. Like, they signed a lot of players from Asia, Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan. In 1998, the Dodgers became the first Major League Baseball team to open an office in Asia, and they were the second team to start a Japanese player, and the first in nearly 30 years, pitcher Hideo Nomo, the first team to start a South Korean pitcher, Chan Ho Park, and the first to sign a Taiwanese player, Chin-Peng Chen. In 2005, the Dodgers' Hee-Seop Choi became the first Asian player to compete in the Home Run Derby. After like 5 years, he disappeared and nobody knows what ever happened to him. In 2008, the Dodgers had no team had more Asian players on its roster than the Dodgers back in 2008. They had Japanese pitcher Takahashi Sato and countryman Hiroki Kuroda, and Taiwan's pitcher Hong Chi-kyu and infielder Chin Long-hyu. On May 17th of 2008, they became the first team to send out 3 Asian pitchers from different Asian countries in a single game. Park, Kuo, and Sato, and they pitched against the Los Angeles Dodgers of Anaheim. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, sorry. For the 2013 season, the Dodgers signed starting pitcher Ha-Young Jin Ryu with a 6-year, $36 million contract after posting a bid of nearly $27 million to acquire him from the HBO's Eagles, for the Korean Baseball Association's Eagles. For the 2016 season, the Dodgers signed starting pitcher Kenta Maeda with an 8-year, $25 million contract after posting a bid of $20 million to acquire him from the Hiroshima Tayo Carp. Now, back in 2024, the Dodgers signed free agent 2-way player Shohei Ohtani to a 10-year deal worth $700 million, which is the largest contract in baseball and for any sports. To me, that fucking deal was ridiculous. No player needs to have a $700 million contract. Now, the Dodgers' rivalry with the San Francisco Giants dates back to the 19th century when the 2 teams were based in New York. The rivalry with the New York Yankees took place when the Dodgers were based in New York, but was revived with their East Coast, West Coast World Series battles in 1963, 1977, 1978, 1981. And the Dodgers' rivalry with the Philadelphia Phillies and St. Louis Cocksuckers also dates back to the to their days in New York, but were most fierce during the 1970s, 1980s, and 2000s. Now the Dodgers also share a heated rivalry with the Cincinnati Reds. During the 1970s, 1980s, and early 1990s, though the Dodgers have had and even shared had even shared a rather volatile rivalry with the divisional opposed the Arizona Diamondbacks during the most of the 2010s. Their intra-city rivalry with the Los Angeles Angels dates back to the Angels' inaugural season in 1961, but the Dodgers have recently revived an old Southern California-based rivalry with the San Diego Padres, dating back to the Padres' inaugural season in 1969. Now, most recently, the Dodgers have also overgrown a heated rivalry against the former divisional foe Houston Astros after their move to the American League, due in no smart part to the controversy of the 2017 World Series, where they were accused of stealing signs from the opposing team. Uh, um, so the feud between the Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants began in the late 19th century when both clubs were based in New York, with the Dodgers playing in Brooklyn and the Giants playing at the Polo Grounds in Manhattan, New York. Um, Now, after the 1957 season, Dodgers owner Walter O'Malley moved the team to Los Angeles for financial reasons and among many others. Now, along the way, he managed to convince Giants owner Horace Stoneham to do the same. He was considering moving his team to Minnesota to preserve the rivalry by bringing his team to California as well, but New York baseball fans were stunned and heartbroken by this move, given that the cities of Los Angeles and San Francisco have been bitter rivals in economic, cultural, and political arenas of over a century and a half. The new revenue in California became fertile ground for its transplantation. Now, each team's ability to endure over a century while moving across an entire continent, as well as the rivalry's leap from a cross-city to cross-state engagement, have led to the rivalry being considered one of the greatest in American sports history. Now, unlike many other historic baseball matchups in which one team remains dominant for most of their history, the Dodgers and Giants rivalry has exhibited a persistent balance in the respective success of the two teams. Now, while the Giants have more wins in franchise history, the Dodgers have had the most National League pennants at 26. With the Giants following close behind at 23. The Dodgers and the Giants are tied for World Series. Well, not anymore. The Dodgers won their ninth World Series title, and the Giants are at 8. The 2010 World Series was the Giants' first championship since moving to California, while the Dodgers had won 6 titles since their move. Their last title coming in the 2024 World Series before winning again yesterday. Now, in 2021, the Dodgers and Giants finished the regular season with over 100 wins, with the latter clinching the division with a record of 107 and 155. The Dodgers were one game behind with a record of 106 and 50, and with 106 wins and 56 losses, relegating them to the National League wild card game, in which they defeated the St. Louis Cocksuckers. Now, this resulted in the first postseason matchup between the Dodgers and Giants in the National League Division Series, with a combined 213 regular season wins. This is the most number of regular season wins between competing teams in any MLB postseason series. The Dodgers ultimately won in the decisive Game 5, but they would end up losing in the National League to the eventual World Series champions Atlanta Braves back then. Now, the Padres rivalry with the Dodgers has often been lopsided in favor of Los Angeles. However, recent growth between the two teams in competition has added intensity and tougher proximity between Los Angeles and San Diego. The Dodgers currently lead that series 518 to 419, with the two teams meeting in the playoffs 3 times. The Dodgers swept the Padres in the 2020 National League Division Series, and they won in 5 games in the National League and won in 5 games in the 2024 National League Division Series again, and the Padres won in 4 games in the 2022 National League Division Series. Um, um, Now, The rivalry between the Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks was one of the most fiercest divisional matchups for multiple years, particularly during the 2010s, when both teams were in regular contention for control of the division. And in addition to the elevated competition, animosity rose immensely between both sides, resulting in multiple incidents involving either team throwing pitches at one another, occasionally escalated into several bench clearing brawls, which I've seen that a lot. After eliminating the Diamondbacks and clinching the division on September 19th of 2013, multiple Dodgers players celebrated the win by jumping into the pool at Chase Field. On December 8th, 2015, pitcher Zach Greinke signed a 6-year deal worth $206 million with the Diamondbacks in free agency. Both teams met during the 2017 National League Division Series, but the Diamondbacks were swept 3-0 by the Dodgers en route to their appearance in the World Series. Now, the teams rematched in the 2023 National League Division Series, with the Diamondbacks returning their favor with a 3-0 sweep of their own as they eventually reached the World Series. The Dodgers lead the series 259 to 193, but the teams tied at 3-3 in the postseason. Primarily a playoff rivalry since 1892. The Dodgers and the St. Louis Cocksuckers have met 6 times in the postseason. The Cocksuckers have won 4, including 2 National League Championship Series, while the Dodgers won the 2009 National League Division Series and the 2021 National League Wild Card Game. Cincinnati Reds. The Dodgers' rivalry with the Cincinnati Reds was one of the most intense during the 1970s. That's because they had Pete Rose on the team back then, through the early 1990s. Now, they often competed for the National League West Division title. From 1970 to 1990, they had 11 1-2 finishes in the standings, with 7 of them being within 5.5 games or fewer. Both teams also played in numerous championships during the span, combining to win 10 National League pennants and 5 World Series titles from 1970 to 1990. Most notably, as the Big Red Machine teams clashed frequently with the Tommy Lasorda era Dodgers team. Reds manager Sparky Anderson once said, "I don't think there's a rivalry like ours in either league." The Giants are supposed to be the Dodgers' natural rivals, but I don't think the feeling is there anymore. It's not there the way it used to be with us and the Dodgers. The rivalry ended when division realignment moved the Reds to National League Central. However, they did face one another in the 1995 National League Division Championship. This rivalry with Los Angeles Angels also refers to a series of games played with the Los Angeles Angels. The Freeway Series takes its name from the massive freeway system in the greater Los Angeles metropolitan area. The home of both teams, one would travel from one team stadium to the other simply by traveling along Interstate 5. The team is akin to the Subway Series, a term for meetings between New York City baseball teams. The term Freeway Series also inspired the official name of the region's NHL rivalry, the Freeway Face-Off. Animosity between the team's fan base grew in 2005 when the Angels' new owner Arte Moreno changed the name of his baseball club from the Anaheim Angels to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And since the city of Anaheim is roughly only 30 miles from downtown Los Angeles, the Angels franchise was ridiculed throughout the league for the contradictory nickname, especially by Dodgers owner Frank McCourt, who filed a formal complaint to Commissioner Bud Selig. Now, after the complaint was denied, McCourt ordered a T-shirt reading "The Los Angeles Dodgers of Los Angeles," which remains popular among fans to this day. The Dodgers rivalry with the New York Yankees is among the best-known rivalry in Major League Baseball. The two teams have met 12 times in the World Series, more than any other team from American and the National League. The rivalry began when the Dodgers played in Brooklyn. After the Dodgers moved to Los Angeles in '58, the teams represented the two largest cities since in the 1890s. The teams have met in numerous World Series, although they went 40 years without doing so. From 1981 to 2024, they would not play each other again in a non-exhibition game until 2004, when they played a 3-game interleague series, which they still do. Now, their last meeting in the regular season was in June of 2024, when the Dodgers won 2 out of 3 in New York. Now, the rivalry between the Dodgers and the Houston Astros began as a divisional matchup, but hostility waned after Houston moved to the American League. In 2017, The two teams faced off in the 2017 World Series, which the Astros won in 7 games using a sign stealing system to steal pitching signs. The Dodgers led that all-time series 400 to 334, and the teams are tied in postseason wins at 6-6. Attendance would rise from up into from the 11th in MLB during the Dodgers final season in Brooklyn to second in their first season in Los Angeles. Team owner Walter Melly feared that the planned Dodger Stadium would be too large to fill regularly, but the Dodgers led the league in attendance by a sizable margin for the 1962 season, nearly doubling that of the New York Yankees. In 2012, a Bleacher Report article called Dodgers fans the best in Los Angeles. I don't know about that. That's just a matter of opinion. In 1978, the Dodgers became the first MLB team to attract more than 3 million fans in a season, and they repeated the feat 6 more times before any other franchise reached 3 million fans overall. The Dodgers drew at least 3 million fans for 15 consecutive seasons from 1996 to 2010, which was the longest streak among all MLB teams. The team's largest fan club, Pantone 294, is a reference to the Pantone code of Dodger Blue. They regularly travel to away games to cheer for the Dodgers. The Dodgers have been regularly placed in the top 3 in attendance throughout the years, or they have led the league numerous times since 2000, excluding the 2020 season. The Dodgers have recently led the league in attendance for 9 straight seasons, going back to 2013. On July 3rd of 2007, the Dodgers management announced that total franchise attendance dating back to 1901 had reached 175 million, a record for all professional sports. Now, in 2007, the Dodgers set a franchise record for single season attendance by having over 3.8 million fans overall attend games. On March 28th of 2008, the Dodgers set the world record for the largest attendance for a single baseball game during an exhibition game against the Boston Red Sox at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum in honor of the Dodgers' 50th anniversary, with 115,300 fans in attendance. In 2009, the Dodgers led MLB in total attendance, and the Dodger baseball cap is consistently the top 3 in sales of overall. Now, primarily, the Dodgers fans originate from most of southern or central California, and also parts of southern Nevada. The fan base also has also extended out to states across the southwest, such as Arizona, New York, Mexico, and even some parts of Texas. Now, when the Oakland Athletics moved to Las Vegas, are some of the Dodgers fans going to jump ship in Nevada to the Las Vegas Athletics? I don't know if they're going to call them that, though. Anyway, if they're going to keep the name like that. Now, home games often draw Hollywood celebrities, including at a lot of Dodgers games. There have been a lot of famous people in attendance, like Magic Johnson, Flea, Mary Hart, rapper DaBaby, Larry King when he was alive, Tiger Woods, the hockey player, golf player. They had Wayne Gretzky there too. There's a lot of hockey teams out there too from California. You got Alyssa Milano, Shia LaBeouf, George Lopez, the comedian, Lana Del Rey, Mila Kunis, and Ashton Kutcher. Now some celebrities sit at field box seats behind home plate where they sign autographs for fellow Dodgers fans. Actor Bryan Cranston is a lifelong Dodgers fan who's attended numerous games. They have a lot of retired numbers. Let's see, they got Pee Wee Reese, Tommy Lasorda, Duke Snider, Gil Hodges, Jim Gilliam, Don Sutton, Walter Alston, Sandy Koufax, Fernando Valenzuela, Roy Campanella, Jackie Robinson, and Don Drysdale. Vin Scully, who was actually a broadcaster for the team. Jamie Guerin, and Walter O'Malley. All their numbers are retired. Now, Sandy Koufax, Roy Campanella, and Jackie Robinson were the first Dodgers to have their numbers retired in a ceremony at Dodger Stadium on June 4th of 1972. Now, although other MLB teams had already been retiring numbers for decades, the Dodgers were the latest to the trend. Now, the Dodgers had wanted to retire Jackie Robinson's number for years after he retired, but Robinson had consistently rejected the idea in honor due to a long-running grudge with Dodgers owner Walter O'Malley. Now, Jackie Robinson did not agree to appear at the number retirement ceremony until O'Malley handed over control of the team to his son Peter in 1970. Now, although the Dodgers website states that there are no written criteria for retiring uniform numbers, the team has historically retired only the numbers of individuals who played most of their career with the Dodgers and are members of the Baseball Hall of Fame. In each baseball team, they have minor league associations too. Okay, since 1884, the Dodgers have employed only 31 managers, the most current being Dave Roberts, who was appointed following the 2015 postseason after the departure of Don Mattingly. For 43 years between 1954 and 1996, the Dodgers employed only two managers during that time, Walter Alston and Tommy Lasorda, both are in the Hall of Fame. During this time period of extraordinary stability, the Dodgers were family owned by Walter O'Malley, and then his son Peter O'Malley. It was during this era that the Dodgers won 11 of the 24 pennants and their first 6 World Series championships. So going from 1958 to now, they had Walter Alston, who had managed the team from 58 to 76, and then he started off with Brooklyn in 1954. Tommy Lasorda from 1976 to 1996. A guy named Bill Russell from 1996 to 1998. Glenn Halpin in 1998. Davey Johnson from 1999 to 2000. Jim Tracy from 2001 to 2005. Grady Little from 2006 to 2007. Joe Torre from 2008 to 2010. Don Mattingly from 2011 to 2015, and Dave Roberts has been the manager of the team since 2016. But that's about it there to sum it up. But the Dodgers, like I said, had won back-to-back World Series. The Cubs did it back in 1907 and 1908. Dodgers have done it. Yankees have done it. So, like I said, the Dodgers are not the first team that won back-to-back titles. Now, I don't know if there's a three-peat in baseball, but there has been in basketball. The Bulls did a three-peat twice. I don't think any baseball team has done a three-peat, but that'd be something to look up myself. I'm going to go right now because I do have a college test to take for my class. I got 3 of them to take today. They're both going to be worth my grade to bring up. But yeah. But congratulations, Dodgers! You actually deserved it. You were the better team for this year. Let's see what happens next year for World Series. But congratulations to the Dodgers on winning the World Series. So if you like my video, you can give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button for more videos like this, and let me know what you guys think.